Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Series 2 is about to come your way, and it's going to be our closest one of the day, as this is the third and fourth seed duking it out between Cloud9 Academy and Team Liquid Academy. But when we think about two spring split, they were at the top of the standings as the number 1 and number 2 seed, respectively, as for the summer, between FlyQuest Academy and 100 Thieves Academy showing far more dominant prowess and more consecutive or consistent results. This is where Cloud9 and Team Liquid have to start getting wins over each other so that they can break the mold and remain in that top 3.
Yeah, there's also been roster changes, of course, for both C9 and
Sure.
TL, with C9 swapping up Sven and King for a little bit at the start of the split. TL now have a different top side, as both Jenkins and Armeo were needed for the LCS squad. They got Dopa and Nori to step in and help them out. And it's led to them trying to get back to where their footing wants to be. And I know that when you caught up with Copy, Rafa, that's something that he really talked about. Now that they're back as 5, he feels like this is where they can really start zoning in on some of the mistakes that they were making and not have to worry about going through more swaps moving forward.
Yeah, you know, he made a comment about when they dropped the series against FlyQuest Academy, which technically was the LCS squad coming in with Jose,
Plus
Diodo,
Kumo.
Palafox, plus Kumo, Johnson, and Dreams. He said that, yeah, the way that they kind of exposed me in mid lane, Palafox, who, if they're keeping that LCS squad, then Palafox is by far, he feels, the best mid laner in Academy at the moment, who just was able to find so many advantages, and as soon as they found like one small advantage, they just continued snowballing and expediting the lead even further. And we saw that even to greater fruition when Kuma and Jose Diodo were playing towards the top side of the map. But now, this time, after that series, Copy and Shern had a little bit of a team bonding moment and say, hey, you know what, let's start working on this, you know, see the things that this squad did against us, we need to make sure that we do against the rest of the team. And then they ended the week overall 2-2, being able to come out on top in their second series of the week.
Yeah, over 2-0 against EG.
Yep.
As well. Not too shabby, as they've been interesting Academy team. A little bit, some high
Not
highs
an easy
and low
squad
lows
to
from
win
them.
out against, for sure.
Yeah,
but
not an easy squad to 2-0, that's for sure. They've been resilient throughout the entire split, and that's actually the first time that EG got 2-0'd the entire split, I believe, as well. As they've been the 1-1 specialists that we have here in our best of 2 format. Of course, a little bit different than what we have in the LCS, but it's been fun, and I feel like it really encourages the teams to kind of throw down, go for fights, go for plays, not have that fear of just having one game define your week. The fact that you get best of 2s encourages plays, which I think encourages development, which has been fun. And we have to see which one of these teams gets off to an early start and some early plays here, as I know that C9, off the back of Shernfire, they've been the second best early game team that we have in Academy, averaging being up 909 gold at the 15-minute mark. I want to see if they're able to play through Shernfire and do that up against Team Liquid, who, with Nori stepping back in, had one series that didn't look the greatest, had another series where it looked damn good. We're going to have to see if Nori has taken that next week to make some more improvements and get some more consistency back to Team Liquid in this game.
yeah, so talking with their coach Spawn last week, you know, he's very proud of the fact that Team Liquid has a track record of being able to accommodate new players coming in. First day didn't reflect that, but it was some nerves that they had to shake off, and Spawn was, you know, cognizant of that as he, you know, took to Twitter to say, no, don't worry guys, we're going to be much better. And then they were in the second series, and Nori looked a lot more comfortable in that footing. And now that they've had a full week under his belt with Nori playing with this squad, I imagine that this is where we're going to get the best of both Team Liquid Academy going against Cloud9 Academy. And one of the things I want to see, Shernfire has a pocket pick. It's called Fiddlesticks. Between him and Keel, they're the only 2 junglers in Academy that have really played it out. And, you know, some teams have just straight up banned in the first phase. Some others wait until the second round.
Shernfire's Fiddlesticks is 5-0, and we're going to have to see if that pick comes out, because obviously Rafa's a pretty big fan of it. He just wants the weird stuff. He doesn't really care about how the
Hell
games are
yeah.
played.
Boom! Respect ban!
And Rafa, Team Liquid, paying some respect. And this is also something where, with this matchup, I actually like to focus on the bot lane, because there's quite a bit of history, especially us history, between Isles and Ayla, who, fun fact, 2020 summer, they were the supports of the 2 teams that were fighting to go to Worlds between Order and Legacy in that final. Now both find themselves here in Academy, and have been 2 of the better sports that we have in Academy as well.
Ayla, Isles, also having played with, at some point in their career, Raze. who is on the Immortals LCS squad, and they've been doing pretty well after adjusting to NA and their squad up.
They had a tough week,
big boys.
but they're gonna bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough week, but you know that. LCS is kind of shaken up, and that's what is making LCS and Academy so far super exciting. There is clearly a very dominant 1 and 2 for both leagues, but then the rest for the top 6 is kind of a mystery, as both Cloud9 Academy and Team Liquid Academy opening up the floorboards here. Viego and Ziggs is the response from Cloud9. I want to see if we get the Detonation duo this time around. Maybe the Tristana lock-in on 3rd round here as Team Liquid. I imagine the Thresh is gonna. Yep. Thresh is going to follow up with the Aphelios here.
So, real quick, Team Liquid taking the Diana, the power pick. They see the Ziggs. The Aphelios Thresh is an interesting response because this gives C9 a lot of picks to interact outside the range of Aphelios. I think that's something that a lot of people are sleeping on with Aphelios, is that he's a rather low-range champion. Ziggs is one that outranges Aphelios, and I want to see if C9 try and opt for more champions that do that as well. We're going to get things started with a Nautilus pick, guaranteeing that depth charge, that point-and-click CC, as well as the dredge line, and a winning support matchup for Naut as well. Also sets up well for the Ziggs, who we are expecting to be bot lane for King with the power of that pick on this patch. It was already good on 11-12 and getting plays, and they made gold, his items 200 cheaper for the first one, and then they nerfed some of the other ADs around him, and all of a sudden Ziggs has found a nice spot in the meta in that bot lane. As these AD solo laners are still running rampant. But both teams, Rafa, they need to find solo laners. So I think we're going to have a lot of the solo lane pool being taken away, and I like that Lucian ban right off the bat. It's a good combo with Diana. C9 trying to deny that priority. Set Nocturne still on the table, too. I think we're going to see a couple of those hit the ban list as well.
Something I want to point out as well, Cubby, is that Karma, one of the enchanters, was already banned away by Team Liquid Academy, but Cloud9, they have this Viego. I know it's a flex pick, but you can put it in the jungle, and if you want to take a little bit of a page out of TSM Academy's book, who just ran a powerful jungler in Xin Zhao and then an enchanter mid lane, Copy has a versatile champion pool. He plays both fighters, he plays mages, he also plays enchanters. Lulu is still up on the table, so if Team Liquid Academy fear that Viego-Lulu combo in the mid lane in the jungle, that would be the other thing to ban. Otherwise, you know, Set could be the other answer as well, or the Nocturne.
Yeah, and I think banning one away for
Silas.
TL, they don't want to do that because they actually want to match. So C9 now, if they take Set or Nocturne, I think TL will want to match that pick, as Set still does pretty well into the solo laners that C9 are showing, at least the Viego that's showing at the moment. Of course, still could be in the jungle, but C9 have to show some more of their cards here. And this would be setting up for a Lulu as Kindred in the jungle for Schernfire. That's the choice of pick against Diana. And something else that deals rather well with Aphelios. Keep everything alive, keep everything close range, and then you can try and turn on Aphelios afterwards.
Gragas. That's not Lee Sin. That's not Gragas. Rek'Sai.
There you have Diana. Come on.
Well, I mean, you can put Lee Sin into a solo lane. Yeah, against Viego. Yeah, just
an option.
Because now for Team Liquid, you see Kindred, and automatically I want to see displacement. I want to see things that can knock Kindred and the rest of her allies out of that Lamb's Respite.
Might see Azir here.
Azir would be nice.
Yeah, so the Azir would give you displacement against Kindred, and also the expected pairing that we have is Copy going for Lulu. And so that is an option, but instead, trying to focus on more of those 80 solo laners, Rafa. Still going to be Lee Sin in the mid lane, and we're going to have to see if C9 decide to slam Lulu here.
No, he goes for the Azir. Okay, now, Azir Kindred is a pretty good pairing, too, because, you know, in the same theory that you're pushing people off of Lamb's Respite, it works the same way, because that Lamb's Respite is universal for all players on the Rift, right? So if you bait everyone into the Lamb's Respite, especially low members of Team Liquid Academy, then Copy comes in, who did have some pretty damn good shuffles on the last series last week on Thursday, if I might not mention here, who is now going to be on him to say, hey, you can't get into this party. He's going to be the bouncer this time around as he comes in with the Emperor's Divide, shoving people off. And then low health members for Team Liquid Academy, you have this Mega Inferno Bomb. If you're able to time it well, even after the Lamb's Respite as well, you can start knocking out some members from Team Liquid. But all this index on a lot of physical damage for the side of Team Liquid Academy here, Cubby, means that itemizing for magic resist is not going to be likely from Cloud9 because they have to go for armor. So this means that Inori, if he gets off the ground early, then all that raw magic penetration that you get from the Hextech Rotobelt, the Void Staff as well, that's going to do some major burst damage at the beginning of these fights.
And I think that's going to be the game plan for TL is Early, I think they want to focus on top side, get a TP advantage for Dokla so they can win bot. They can use that to play through Aphelios as this game goes on. Because that's going to be one of the bigger differences for C9 versus TL here, is that Aphelios, that is the marksman, right? As the game goes on, will be that consistent form of AD damage, whereas C9, yeah, they kind of have it with the Kindred, somewhat with the Viego, but overall, a pretty squishy team. And if you get Camille Diana going against a team of squishies, that could be doomsday for C9, as CFTL can execute that game plan, or if they have something else in store, as we're diving into the Rift for Game 1 of our second series of the day, Team Liquid versus C9.
30 seconds until
No level 1 shenanigans. I think looks like Inori places down a ward in the early river. Is going to recall for that trinket sweeper. Surenfire might be answering something similar as well. Early pathing. I'm going to say it again, Kobe. I don't want to see boring full clear paths. I want to see some flexibility. I want to see some adaptations.
I think it's a good game for a boring full clear path from Diana.
Man.
Yeah,
Pain.
and just go bot to top and try and utilize that Camille. Or try and play off the Camille, as seems like Inori actually might be pathing towards the Aphelios, of course not. Has a lot of gank set up with the Aphelios and the Thresh. And early rotating to that Graviton might be the option. And if you start on the Wolves, okay, please start on Wolves so I can talk about this. I would love this.
Yeah, this is good. And he's
All right,
solo starting too.
Yeah, I really like starting AoE camps and non-buff camps because they spawn faster, giving you an earlier level 6 in the long run when they come back. So I like the fact that Inori taking advantage of Diana's AoE abilities. And looks to be moving towards the blue buff and the Gromp, so this opens up for a 3 camp and potentially a play on the top side, Rafa, where we talked about getting that Camille ahead, getting that Camille a TP advantage could really help enable Aphelios Thresh as this game goes on.
He won't have the red buff, but Darshan already playing aggressively into this lane against Dokla means that Darshan is going to have to push, and he will be slightly overextended. So if Dokla is able to pair a good hook shot into Inori being able to gap close with his full kit available at level 3, could mean at least a flash being burned against Darshan, maybe a kill opportunity.
Darshan has been playing fantastic in this Academy season. Third in gold diff at 10, averaging up 100 a game, and second in KDA at his role with a 3.8. Very impressive performances for Darshan this split. A top laner has always been one of the best of Academy, but seems to be pushing it to an even higher level in this split moving into the summer.
Looks like we're not going to see the level 3 gank from Inori onto the top side of the map. Wants to go for the full clear, which breaks my heart. No adaptive.
It's good for Diana, right? You just want to rush 6.
Yeah, you do.
This is the point of the game where
Not
Kindred can
exciting, though.
bully. Yeah, Rafa just wants violence. See, you get to
Hell
have
yeah,
fun
dude.
as the play-by-play, right? You're just like, all right, I just want violence. Like, I want to see crazy stuff. I don't really care.
get the
Whereas,
shout.
I have to be the
Yeah.
brains. Yeah,
But
I'm being held back.
I will say that considering the stakes for both of these teams as they are fighting for the sole possession of that 3rd spot and seed in Academy going into playoffs, means that these games do require a little bit more careful execution. And so even if it's not the fun route, it is the least volatile route, as
Half of
Sure.
least resistance.
yeah. Surenfire is on the Krugs at the moment here as we get a teleport from Darshan, comes back with a long sword. And look at that! RNG favors Cloud9 here as Surenfire lands heads up for this crab.
See, I really feel like there's a joke between C9 and flipping crabs here, but that horse has been beaten dead. And that's the path I'm going to take as they're going up against Team Liquid instead. So we have a rather quiet early game with trades going on across the map, but
Well done, well played.
yeah, thank you. I try my best. As this early respite could lead to some early action as Ayla making their way into the mid lane.
Harry doesn't have kick yet, but he still has the gap close, and he's actually forced Copy away from the turret. Gets a couple more
flash
auto attacks
burns.
in as Copy. Yeah, you called it. Ayla had the burnt flash in trying to gap close on the Copy, but maintains his
Didn't
slash.
have to burn it, but did. Denies a cannon, as you can take that one to the bank. But overall, nice play from Copy, being able to slip on out of there. Was forced out from the turret. Harry, with that dash, of course, denying any soldier, so that's why Copy had to go a long way. Copy still able to return to Wayne safely, burns that TP, he's going to be feeling A-okay on the Azir. And will now be challenged to move into the rest of the game without that TP. Has to be very careful about how he manages his mana.
Yeah, importantly enough, he didn't get a respawn
pull
off with the Lost Chapter, so not going to have that mana restoration passive for him. Will be more reliant on a blue buff the next time it spawns up. Meanwhile, Dokla doesn't have Ignite, doesn't have Teleport. Does he have Hookshot, though? I don't think it's going to matter because Surenfire has a lot of early game damage on this Kindred. It's first blood for Cloud9.
No mark for Surenfire, but does take down first blood as Dokla. We missed it, but looked to be going for the all-in. Just wasn't able to calculate the damage quite yet, Rafa. As, oh wow, copy. Only missing one there. That's pretty nice on the Azir. I like that.
It is a nice thing to appreciate as Copy's going to spawn.
We're really being relegated to talking about, CS on the turret. That's where this game is bringing us at the moment.
Well, as we said before. Wait a minute. Flash from Harry. Good God. Copy thought he was safe, but it was Harry the one that just put the pedal to the metal.
A great play from Inori. That dash prevented the soldier dash from putting Copy back on her turret as another flash is burned by TL. And Team Liquid with this early lead now in the bottom, utilizing the power of Aphelios, the fact that he can auto maintain control of this wave for the first few levels, as King does need levels to be able to get the wave clear. TL, they cash out in the end.
Copy now has his Lost Chapter now, but
Dragon.
loses about a minion's wave worth as Team Liquid had just burned the flash off of Isles. King has to clear out this wave, but as you said, Cubby, all this pressure from the mid and the bottom side of the map makes sure that Team Liquid have the resources they need to secure the first dragon of the game.
Good team play coming out from TL. They're taking leads solo in the bot lane with the 2v2, but also a little bit of help from Inori mid, using priority in both lanes to take that dragon. As we are going to get a replay. And it seems like Dokla took a tower shot there, just wasn't able to calculate the damage against Darshan, gets baited in. Surenfire going to be able to clean that one up. We didn't see the hook shot from Dokla, but I'm going to assume that's how the play started, going up against Darshan. That's how C9 was able to pick up first blood, but TL, at least they were able to respond with a flash, burn in the bot lane, a kill into Copy, and take that first dragon, as now both teams setting their sights on Rift. Curious to see if either support backs here and rotates up early. And of course, King having to burn that TP early, that's a big deal, Rafa, because you aren't guaranteed a numbers advantage around Rift Herald now.
Unfortunately, Inori is on the bottom side of the map, so they cannot deny Surenfire the second mark of the game. So Surenfire, 7 minutes, halfway to becoming a real champion, as many of my fellow jungler
You're a real champion before. It's not like a Kane thing, but you go from being like an champion to like, whoa,
Cubby instantly calling me out right there.
I'm not calling. We're just trying to clarify,
See, Kindred's a real champion without 4 marks for like the first 10 minutes. Afterwards, then the range advantage becomes a real pain in the ass. So then afterwards, if you don't have 4 marks after like the 10-15 mark, then you don't feel like a real champion. So that's
there we go.
Context and for clarity, so that Kindred mains don't start flaming us in Twitch chat. Although, pretty sure there's already enough things to flame about us. Team Liquid starting up this Rift Herald. They're going to be the first ones to the punch here. Surenfire clearing up some Raptors and Chicken Nuggies, so doesn't look like they're going to get any position on being able to take back this Rift Herald. As Team Liquid have already rotated their bottom lane as well.
Yeah, it's a big rotation because now Dokla, he is going to miss some time in that bot lane. A wave burned, and C9, they don't respond to the Rift. A good deny from Team Liquid. We talked about the importance of taking that Rift Herald against the Ziggs team, because of the early work that Dokla was able to put up into the top turret, and also Yawn with the red-white. That's first brick going over to TL as good early play coming out from them.
8.5 minutes. What is this, lane swap season all over again? Remember when that was a thing?
I feel like Ayla, King, Isle, Surenfire, pretty comfortable with the Australian lane state here.
Ah, yes. I forgot that's what it was called back in the day,
Yeah, the Aussie lanes, come on.
Yeah, the Aussie lanes, dude. There's a lot of good names for strategies like this. I think that's one of my favorite parts about just League of Legends, when we get to like call things out. When Udyr and Volibear as a duo, we just called them the Berenstein Bears. You remember that one? Oh, man,
that was a Cubby original. I will take credit for that with Rafa. Rafa's trying to push your new duo that we haven't seen yet, the Detonation duo, Tristana Ziggs. I do like that one.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's all about blowing up turrets, baby, and turning them into balls of wood.
That's exactly what TL did to get first brick in the top side. As now their bot lane has rotated back. King wasn't able to get an advantage back in this early play coming out from Yawn and Ayla, getting the best of the C9 bot lane. King and Isles, who they were the strongest bot lane in the spring, but returning with King now returning to the lineup, they haven't been able to replicate the same magic quite yet. Still getting comfortable with each other yet again, as it feels like they aren't having the same confidence and bravado that they had in the summer to go for plays when C9 took second in Proving Grounds.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Copy was hinting on, just something that he was talking about in a little bit of a questions we got to ask him before the start of the series, is that they've just been working on finding their footing again, and as you said, getting back into their spring split form, because they were the second best team in all of Proving Grounds, falling only to No Org in that best of 5, but they were the most dominant Academy team by far. And now that FlyQuest and 100 Thieves have taken that route, Cloud9 are looking for that revitalization and finding that form again. This is going to be a huge test in this series against Team Liquid, who currently have a little bit of a tempo advantage thanks to taking that first break on the top side of the map.
And with this second dragon spawning in 50 seconds, I'm curious to see if C9 even goes for this, because once again, the scaling with the solo laners, Viego, definitely one that outscales, especially the Azir versus the Lee Sin. Time's going to do C9 a lot of favors, and they might just be seeding this to make sure that Darshan can catch back up and then keep on slowing Dokla down in this top side.
Yeah, considering that Dokla was the first blood over to Cloud9 and he's been able to maintain this pressure, but because Surenfire showed his face on the top side of the map, it means Nori is going to go right all in on the King, burning his flash and the satchel charge. Does Nori have enough damage to be able to find it? It looks like King is going to be able to get out alive, and this might be disaster for Nori as he's all caught out, but the rest of Team Liquid, they teleported Dokla over to the bottom side of the map, but King, because he's still alive, throws down to make an Inferno Bomb, gets a nice amount of damage out. Copy and Surenfire are on the chase, but because of Yawn, having Gravitum available is able to slow down Copy and Surenfire in their tracks and prevent any further deaths from Team Liquid.
Good play coming out of TL as they utilize that power of the 5-man to find a play, but C9, props to them. They stall that out enough and save their HP bar to the point where they can actually take this dragon for themselves, slowing down the snowball of TL. So while TL, they pick up gold on the play, C9 do walk out with the dragon. Not all was lost for them, as props to Copy. He did a very nice job of turning that play around on Nori and saving C9 from facing critical damage.
Take a moment to calm things down. Uh-oh. King, you're in a bad spot, buddy.
Harry's
no
got
flash.
different ideas.
Harry doesn't have Dragon's Rage. He misses the Sonic Wave, but he should have enough damage to be able to find King here. Just one more time, this Cripple Strike to get the slow in is going to be enough.
Nice use of TP from Harry, finding King overextended. As King on the Ziggs, looking a little bit uncomfortable at a couple points in this game. But props to him. Did do a good job of surviving Inori here. The flash and the fact that he was able to just buy enough space with that minefield is what ends up turning the play on Inori. But TL with that 5-man, a little bit too powerful. Yes, Inori does go down, and they get the health bars chipped, but Yawn actually has a very cute play here. Applies the Gravitum to everyone before he flashes out. So he actually stepped up, applied the Gravitum. That enabled him to flash, create the rest of the space needed for him and the rest of the team to walk out. But, of course, the health bars too low for TL to actually take the monster objective. And TL do lose a little bit of the snowball. As getting back out onto the map, they turn that King kill into a red buff, and TL looking to resume the control they had across the rift at this point in the game.
A 3,000 gold lead for Team Liquid at the moment as we are approaching the 14-minute mark. Another dragon is not spawning for 3.5 minutes. Our second Rift Herald will be coming up in just under a minute, though, as Team Liquid were able to take that first Rift Herald pretty much right off of spawn. So I imagine that is going to be the next play for Team Liquid as they want to break open this mid lane turret.
Plates are about to fall here, but Team Liquid have done a good job of securing a 2.5k gold lead in this early game. Definitely picking a comp that needs to get ahead in the early game, right? With the fact that they have a Lee Sin solo lane that will get outscaled by an Azir. C9, when they took that pick, I think they realized that they weren't going to have the strongest solo lane, are looking to scale. And they have held on. The fact they picked up that dragon, pretty big for them. As the next couple dragons, they can decide to seed if they want to. And they now have King in the side lane. The big key for them is just going to be protecting Copy in the side. Copy, at this point of the game, very vulnerable to plays coming out from Lee Sin, Camille, Diana, if they want to sync up. And you can see Surenfire, I think, Yes, he's going for the Gromp and the camps that he has on his side, but I think it's very intelligent that he is hovering Copy and the Azir at this point, as Azir is vulnerable at this state of the game.
But this opens up the opportunity for Team Liquid to take the Rift Herald because there's no teleports from Copy to be able to answer back. Surenfire is on the bottom side of the map as he is working his way over towards the top side of the map. A little bit of a missed opportunity potentially for Team Liquid Academy as whether they didn't have enough information on where Surenfire's location was, but now they're finally making their way towards this Rift Herald as they shove out the mid lane. Surenfire is still on the bottom side of the map, so this is a free Rift Herald for Team Liquid.
Yeah, they just wanted to shove out the mid lane. That's where they were waiting to make this play. And so, good play from TL, once again, trading across the map. C9, they have to seed this to protect their Azir, make sure that Azir is getting the farm needed to be a very powerful champion as the game goes on. And if Copy decides to go for the Nashor's Tooth next, that's where Azir starts to really hit his stride, be a champion that is to be feared across the Rift. And because of that, we are a buck 24 away from the Mountain Dragon, and I would be surprised if C9 actually contest this. I feel like that where TL's comp is at the moment, the fact that they are utilizing their stronger solo lanes at this point to get priority mid, their bot lane got ahead thanks to their play. I don't think C9 can fight this, and I think they should give this one up. I'd be surprised if they do end up contesting Rafa.
And watch out for the stopwatch and engage play from Inori, because I imagine that with that Proto Belt and the Sorcerer's Boots, remember we talked about at the beginning of the draft that it's going to be hard to itemize magic resist, because if you want any type of durability or defenses, you have to go into armor, thanks to playing against Lee Sin, Aphelios, and Camille. So for Cloud9, there is no way to really cut down on the amount of magic damage that is coming out from Inori, and with that stopwatch, it's going to give him a little bit more reprieve in being able to make those plays without going down necessarily. You already see Inori shoving out this mid lane. He's going to drop the Rift Herald probably on the next wave that comes in anticipation for this dragon.
I like the call on C9. Surenfire is rotating down here, so maybe they look for a positive play. Maybe they look for an opportunity. There's nothing else for Surenfire to do, so he's just kind of looking to buy out space and maybe take his Gromp. As King going to have to use the Satchel to get out. Once again, C9 should be very respectful of the power of Team Liquid at this point. A 2.5k gold lead or deficit is manageable as the game goes on, but they don't want to lose too much as TL, just as you called out, making the right macro play here. Dropping the second Rift Herald to guarantee that turret guaranteed mid-priority, and will now move to an uncontested Dragon as TL continues to use their early power to create a bigger gold advantage for themselves.
And you know what? Something I want to point out, specific to Kindred. 10 minutes ago, the third mark of the game spawned on that Gromp. That Gromp has not been taken for the past 10 minutes at all. Because Team Liquid know that Inori knows specifically, that if he were to take that Gromp, it would potentially spawn somewhere that is more accessible.
Know. Oh, yeah.
Damn it, Dokla. Come on, man.
It's been a lot of time. Dokla has nothing else to do. Wants that farm. It's fine.
Okay. Well, the point was, at least, it was up there for 10 minutes, right? Because that top side of the map was pretty much untouchable for Surenfire. There's no way that he could get access to that half of the quadrant, and so Surenfire has been stunted. And remember we talked about after the 10-15 minute mark, Surenfire doesn't feel like a champion if he doesn't have 4 marks? Well, guess where we're at right now. He only has 2 marks, I'm pretty sure. In fact, if producers can give us a quick read on
our 1 mark is getting concerned about how many marks Kindred has at the moment, guys.
Hey, listen, man, we got to keep up with, so the viewers at home know what power level Surenfire is at. He's at 3 marks. So that could have been his 4th mark, and he could have had the extra 75 range. Because he doesn't, he's a 500 rage champion. So it's very difficult and very scary for him to try and get into the faces of things like Lee Sin and Diana and Camille.
You know what, Rafa? I'll take my 1 mark over the 3 marks that Surenfire has.
Aww.
Rafa's name is, of course, Mark here, if no one's picking up on
Man.
that jokes. Of course, we do have some
Thanks,
downtime. We are a minute away from Baron spawning, 3.5 minutes away from the next Mountain Dragon, and C9 looking content to try and scale.
Look where the mark spawned!
Oh, that's 4.
Oh my god.
Surenfire's
actually just RNGesus right now, spawning a beautiful mark that is just coincidentally right in front of him. So now he's a real champion again.
He mind-controlled the game. As Surenfire back in business, and C9, to be fair, once again, it's a 4k gold deficit. TL's done a great job of securing this early lead, but C9 understand that they have the scaling comp, and I think they're giving that last dragon was very intelligent from them. We're going to have to see if they decide to give the next one, or if they decide to fight. Of course, giving over what could be Soul Point to TL is a big decision to make. But because C9 bought that time, we have double DeAndres coming in. Very good against the bruisers that TL have in their solo lanes. And more time for Azir to try and pick up items. Does now have the stopwatch. Tells me that C9 is trying to fight. Going for the skirmish.
Quick thinking on the dark passage from Ayla, though,
Yeah.
buys Yon a little bit of an escape route as things were about to get really dicey with Copy right over the wall, ready to, with that potential Sharuna shuffle.
And Yon going for what looks to be a collector second. Something that we're seeing pioneered by Danny at the LCS. A lot more changes went over to Aphelios, especially the lethality changes to the point that you can skill or double. So actually some base lethality on his abilities that now do a little bit more upfront damage. Utilizing the Q, whichever gun you have available to you.
It's a little half and half.
Yeah, it does some extra. It still gives you the crit. You're allowed to scale, but we've seen that ult hit very hard, especially if you have Infernum with the increased lethality. And I want to see if Yon's able to land one of those, as that could be lethal against C9, as C9 have shrank the gold deficit down to 3k, and we are a minute 30 away from this upcoming dragon. As TL keeping Yon mid, trying to secure that priority. C9 can't yet rival this with King, who still working on items. And Copy, I think importantly enough, delaying that Nashor's Tooth to try and get the Zanyas, try and survive the double 80 solo laners that TL have that are very powerful right now.
And thankfully, he does have a stopwatch, so even though he doesn't have any magic resist for a Nori's burst, it's a lot of playmaking and a moment to try to withstand the burst that comes in from a Nori, because he doesn't... With this build, it's not necessarily sustained damage, it's just a giant nuke that you're trying to land on the backliners for Cloud9, which, you know, to be quite frank, there's three backliners here. They have a little bit of mobility in the Kindred and the Azir. Ziggs, not so much. Outside of Satchel Charge, you are just a walking Yordle. I was about to say rodent, but, you know, I think it's a little too offensive for King of his stature as well, as he's actually gone for Demonic Embrace. So he's itemizing a lot of durability and a lot of health, but it does give him a little bit of extra health percentage burn damage.
Yeah, I like that change coming out. Trying to protect himself, give himself the extra resistances, as 20 seconds outside the Mountain Drake spawning. If you are TL, the goal is to blow up Kindred before that Namster fight can come down. If you're able to get that chain CC, take Kindred out of the fight, C9 has no leg to stand on, as that is the only form of tankiness that they have. And Team Liquid have done a beautiful job of choking out Vision in the spot side river. You can see Yon feels so confident to walk up, hit the wave early. And as this dragon spawns, we're going to have to see if C9 decide to fight this uphill battle, try and get control over the river. They're walking in as 5, but Dokla waiting for a TP ward. As we now have the TP coming down on just the dragon, so no flank will be found. We're going to have both teams posturing. The key, once again, blow up Kindred. If you're C9, you want to land Ziggs poke.
Well, King is on the safe side, but he used the Satchel Charge. He can't get over the wall, so he's a little bit far ways away, and if Dokla spotted that, that's an easy target to go in with the Hextech Ultimatum. You already see him going for the flank. He's going to land the CC right on the King, goes to stasis mode, and look at Inori, though, trying to buy some time into the front line. His Copy's trying to just get some time with that Shurima shuffle. Lambda Spike comes down from Fire, trying to buy some time. King is still in the bush, and look at the amount of damage that is coming out of Cloud9's response, but is it enough to deal with Yon, who's just tearing up another one with this powerful Aphelios? Darshan has resets, looking for more into Harry. He's going to dash over the wall to Yon, and now it's red-white. And you know what that means. Don't fight. Darshan has to play this one carefully. King does have teleport. He's trying to go for the recall, but now he's trying to run away from Harry, as Yon now in a 1v1 against Darshan, who's going to win it out. Look at the damage from Yon! My God! How is that legal?
King, Harry. Once again, King's on the wrong side. This Ziggs is going to be hunted down as trying to TP out, but can Yon get there in time?
Oh!
He missed!
Oh! Well, hey, he didn't have vision. It was... I don't know what the ratio on that is, whether it's 50-50 or like. All right. 45.
Can we call Ziggs a rat for TPing out of that? Because that was definitely a rat move. As he sneaks his way out.
I want to get out too.
All right, I mean, the big thing, so King isn't able to join the fight, but he does survive Dokla's damage, and that is significant as this fight continues, because Ziggs, even though he's very low health, with such long range, is able to pump out as much damage as possible. But I think the big difference, that was a 3-man moonfall that Inori landed, and Fire was forced to ult here. Harry attempted to kick Copy out, but wasn't able to, and from here, C9, they actually managed the fight okay. Like, Copy, that's Azanya's that, you know, ends up dropping, forces Yon's flash over the wall, but the big key here, you called it out, Rafa, red-white, just can't continue any sort of fight against this, and Darshan tries to go for the all-in, but Yawn, with the Collector, with the Immortal Shield Bow, with the right guns, wins the 1v1, and TL end up taking the fight, and more importantly, the Dragon, that's sole point for them now, Ralph. It's so tough for C9 to come back from.
You even saw that Darshan was trying to wait out cooldowns. He was trying to play it as best as he could, and it's not enough. As we see, even the Cloud9 emblem, Sayonara, peace late. Hey, come on, why are we shaming Harry for the Q? It was blind, man. Don't bully Harry.
Sorry about the James Bond music there. I hope that doesn't get DMCA'd. I think it was far away from being accurate with my
I was talking over it, so I'm pretty sure. There's no way.
You know what, Rob? That's probably for the best. As we do return to this game state, 2.5 minutes away from the next Dragon, of course, will be Soul Point, or the Soul for Team Liquid. They are able to secure it. But the Purple Worms on the map, and TL utilizing that priority, that lead they have to try and secure this as, oh my goodness. Anori, no Zanya's needed. Just going to rely on a death cap coming in for this Diana and the upfront damage.
See, this is the confidence that I want to see from Anori, especially after the first series that he played for Team Liquid. It didn't really go his way. The Xin Zhao start, and then wasn't that great. And then even the Nocturne game, they were not able to close out the game against Golden Guardians. But then, second series, going into Evil Geniuses, had a much better start. And now, he's... doesn't even need to go for the Zonya's Hourglass second or the Void Staff. It's just Death Cap because, like we said before, no one is buying Magic Resists on the side of Cloud9. Really, I think it's only just a little bit from the Locket of Isles and the Demonic Embrace.
So real quick, C9, they do have TP advantage before this Dragon spawns, and I'm curious to see if they try and make a play to help attack one of the side laners of Team Liquid. Whereas you can see before Copy and Churnfire reset, Churnfire once again hovering this Azir. Camille and Lee Sin can get on top of Azir and kill him so quickly if that is, he is not given help. Even with the Shurima Shuffle, a lot of mobility to get around that with those two champions. Love to see C9 respecting that, the power of Team Liquid sidelanders at this point. As Dokla is fixing the top wave for now a minute outside drag, but importantly enough, TL, they're committing 5, or C9 I should say, they're committing 5 to get King in the river first, and it's tough to get through chokes against Ziggs. So I want to see if TL can get around this with the TPs that they now have for their solo laners. They don't have any deep wards. C9 has done a good job of sweeping these out. And TL actually, I know it's sole point for them, but they're still posturing the Baron a little bit. As they might be trying to play a little bit of a gambit up against C9. Threatening the fact they can use their comp to take another Baron as well.
Could have been spooky. King does have Flash. Copy doesn't. Gonna be on Cloud9 to play around these summoner spells to make sure that they
look at TL managing their sides. Double sides crashing at the moment.
Oh yeah, look at the top lane as well.
Yeah, beautiful play coming out from Team Liquid as it's really forcing C9 into a bind. They know that they have to stick around this Dragon, but they're losing so many resources across the map in order to do so. It's TL, they push through the 5k. They're okay giving up this Mountain Dragon. They're gonna lose out on Soul Point, but they're pushing for Baron. Aphelios, I believe, still has red, white, and with a completed Infinity Edge. C9, they understand the danger, but it's tough doing so against the Ziggs.
Cloud9, they face check right into. Isles gets hooked right in, and Isles is isolated from the rest of the members. So Emperor's Divide is going to try to buy some battle lines here, but Churnfire has to pop the Lance Respite. Harry tries to kick Churnfire out of the Lance Respite, but he's still inside. But it's just not enough damage to deal with this massive front line, this massive team composition from Team Liquid, who are just running through the members of Cloud9. They're all scattered like the wind, but it's just easy pickings for Yawn to pick up another triple.
Yawn managing his guns beautifully. We called it out that he was on red-white, so with that combo, they can threaten the Baron because it goes down so quickly, but also the fight, the perfect guns into the comp of C9, and they could not handle the damage, could not handle the gold deficit they're at. As TL, they lose the Dragon, crashing those double sides, and now securing the Baron for themselves. Went out huge across the map play, and Anori, the only member that went down. We're going to have to take a second look at that engage because I believe that Deathcap Moonfall connected with 3.
You already know that when we talked about the Deathcap coming in for Anori, this was going to be a nuclear bomb. And I want to see how much damage this Moonfall goes. Oh, my goodness.
Connected with the entire backline of C9, so Churnfire, I mean, props to him. It's a really good ultimate, but Copy had to burn his ult early, so they couldn't make a play around the Lamb's Respite. And Yawn with red-white off the back protected. And the Immortal Shield Bow was just able to melt through C9 once that Hamster Spite expired. That's the big difference in the fight as Team Liquid take a big win across the map, take the Baron. They have some inner turrets to knock down. That's more gold on this patch, and this could be a massive gold lead for Team Liquid coming out of this first Baron.
The only thing that Cloud9 can take away from that fight is that Copy and King were able to survive the onslaught that Team Liquid brought to them in that mid lane with that Death Brush. But they had the burn flashes to get away, and now Copy and King, no flashes available. They have double teleports, so they can make a play to collapse onto another objective, but it won't be for about 3 minutes. And Nori knows that King doesn't have flash from that last time before.
Oh boy.
He has Zonya's Hourglass, but I don't think it's up in time as King just goes down.
King was throwing the bombs, but Honori's the one with the real bomb, with the Moonfall, as that's kind of more of a nuke at this point with his build. No stopwatch needed. Honori, Alpha Gamer, taking down the Ziggs. And this will give TL an advantage. The 2 inners are about to fall. And they also have a wave stacking in bot lane, so they can take these 2 turrets and rotate bot to take that last one for free. As Team Liquid played out a very clean early game with their composition, Rafa, and I've been almost more impressed with their ability to turn that lead into a victory, not giving C9 any windows to attack them.
Yeah, really the only big advantage that Cloud9 had was that first blood on the Dokla, and yet first turret to fall was in Dokla's lane in his favor, just because of how Team Liquid were able to early rotate in that bot lane into the Rift Herald and just take the full turret in one fell swoop. It gained them so much gold for Yon, and now he is just an absolute monster. 7-0-2, Infinity Edge in his inventory, another BF sword, maybe working towards just a GA, just to give him a little bit more survivability and protection, because he is huge. He's got a 700 gold bounty, and he wants to make sure that he is staying alive in these fights.
Taking inspiration from Danny with the build, and now also from Danny with his play. As him and Ayla, they blinded this bot lane for a reason, right? Into the Ziggs. They felt like this is a combo that they can use to great effect, and they've done just that. As C9, they use their Baron to get a little bit more gold, or TL I should say, they use their Baron to get some more gold on themselves, and C9, they have to fix their size and try and respond here as this Mountain Dragon. There's no Baron to trade now for Team Liquid. They have their full sights set on this. They're resetting, picking up their camps. Going to try and get in this river first, and C9 with a late reset because they have to manage waves. Going to be fighting an uphill battle, not only in gold, but also map positioning, as this Ziggs poke is going to be difficult to connect.
Well, they got to get to the Dragon first and establish vision before they can get that Ziggs poke, as Team Liquid, they're already first to the punch in this bottom quadrant. And they're setting up potentially for a death brush. They have the ward over the wall, and they're just waiting in the river. They have to go for mid priority, as this wave is going to be crashing in once again, but
5 TPs available. I'm curious to see if TL look for some sort of flank. Harry and Dokla flanking could be huge for them if they want to go for that play. The C9 bunch of his 5 to get mid priority. Now they have Ziggs in the river. Good play from them. But there's still a control ward that Harry can look at, and Darshan's going to show here. Team Liquid not going to pull the trigger on any TPs quite yet, but this is a tense moment of the game. C9, they have to win this fight in order to stay in it.
Yeah, Copy.
The game-winning fight.
Look at Copy's positioning right now. He has to give up this bottom wave because they need to make sure that they are all here for this Mountain Dragon. They cannot give Mountain Soul over. So once again, Team Liquid playing the map.
Oh, that's
Look
a deep
at this.
TP.
That's a beautiful TP coming in from Dokla.
That's deep.
As he's going to have access to the backline. And Cloud9, they know that a flank is coming because they just saw him teleport right in front of the turret. Dokla is now going to try to make his way into this backline. They're trying to make sure that the front line is facing against Dokla, but they secede all control of this Dragon. The Mountain Soul will surely go over to Team Liquid, but Copy, he steals it! Okay, they buy some time. It's a beautiful Empress Divide.
No
It keeps
way.
Cloud9 at bay, and Team Liquid, they can't get access to the backline. King doesn't have Mega Inferno Bomb, but he can still pick up the
Red
damage
white.
with bombs. And now Team Liquid, they're the ones on the run.
Oh.
Team Yon trying to dodge out on that dredge line, but he's got nowhere else to run. Ayla maybe has Dark Passage and throws out the Death Sentence, but it's not enough. Cloud9! What a heroic play from Copy. They turn around the Dragon from being taken.
How did Copy get that one for himself as Dokla tries to take down Surenfire? Them Sprite going to be traded out. And now Baron's in a minute. Team Liquid, they have to regroup. Yon burn both summoners in that play, so C9 now have a point of to attack and down 10k gold. Yes, they have the scaling comp, but C9 finally come online, finally pull off the play they need to stay in this game and honestly make this one a game. Is how did Copy get this? What? I think it was a Leandri's burn. I don't know if it was an auto or a Leandri's burn, but between that and the 3-man Shurima shuffle to protect Surenfire, protect King, Copy takes the game into his own hands as the king of Shurima and turns this back in favor of C9.
We saw something about Copy making clutch plays on the Zir in their series against Evil Geniuses last week, but I didn't think with the gold lead like Team Liquid had in this Game 1 that Copy would be able to clutch it out again. But now this puts both Cloud9 and Team Liquid at sole point for the next Dragon coming up in 3.5 minutes.
And critically, C9, they closed the gold gap of this game. We've talked about the scaling, talked about the fact that Kindred, very good as the game goes on. Azir drastically outscales the Sin. And the Brawlers for Team Liquid would have trouble one-shotting the carries as more levels get under their belt. And look at where we're at. Copy now has it completed. Zanya's as well as Ziggs going to be very difficult to attack those two members. And it's really going to be on Harry. Whoever he kicks out of that Lamb's Respite, Team Liquid, they have to take down that first member and go from there. As we're seeing the difficulties that Yawn has in those front-to-backs as the game goes on. Azir, Ziggs, a lot stronger now. And it's pretty difficult for Yawn to get down all the damage that he needs to do as the brunt of the damage in this team comp.
Somehow, Cloud9 were able to do the unthinkable and stall out the game and now bring us to a very tense moment where I'm pretty sure, you know, maybe I shouldn't speak for you, Cubby, but it seemed like Team Liquid had all the means necessary to close out the game. They had the macro play, they had the beautiful flank from Doklo, but Cloud9, quick thinking, able to set up proper battle lines and making sure that Copy, King, and Shermfire were not touched by the Dokla flank, by the rest of the damage dealers from Team Liquid who were trying to make the engage. And now, even though they're still down about 6,000 gold, their backliners have reached the damage spikes that they need to be able to contest Team Liquid in these fights.
And it's going to be a game of cat and mouse with this Baron. They have 2 minutes. Team Liquid could try and start this, try and pull Darshan away from that side lane. As Yawn stepping up aggressively, taking out that control ward. Now we'll have to get back to manicure this mid lane. As Darshan dropped in the top lane, he doesn't have TP, and he realizes that he has to be here for any fight. As once again, game of push and pull across the map, breaking out. Yawn sitting on a very good guns at the moment, but trying to get back to green, white, or red, white for this next team fight. As Mountain, Soul for both teams spawning in 90 seconds. We could have the deciding fight for the game here, Rafa. Can Team Liquid execute Shermfire, execute a member before Lamb's Respite comes down? Or do C9 hold on? And does this Azir do what he did in the last fight? Can copycat that last performance?
Take notice here that Team Liquid solo laners have just picked up GAs for themselves, so they're going to have a second life in these fights. They'll give them a little bit more reprieve to go just even harder in trying to dive the back line, trying to get access to King and Copy and Shermfire. Maybe it gives Harry the space he needs to be able to look for a kick, find a member to take off the Lamb's Respite, as we have about 45 seconds before the Dragon.
Importantly enough, Yawn does not have Flash. That said, Anori does. And with the Zanyas, Anori being the only magic damage on this team, no magic resist really in the pockets of C9. Could go huge in this fight, and we have to keep our eyes on that member for TL. I really think it's on TL. How fast of a start can they get to one of these fights? As the Guardian Angel is protecting against Viego, resets will be critical, but Rafa, we've had a couple tense points in this game, but this is the game. Whichever team gets Mountain Soul, huge advantage for the rest of this one. As TL are set up for C9, have an uphill battle.
Dokla. He's sitting on the other side of the wall right here in this blue buff quadrant. Cloud9, there is a ward right here that is kind of choking them out and being able to get access to this Dragon again. They have to play carefully. Ayla propping the box preemptively, just trying to buy space. Cloud9, they're looking for an engage. Harry kicks Shermfire right into the thick of the fight, forces the flash out. Team Liquid, they have to decide, do you want to burn the Dragon or do you want to fight and commit? Ayla's already losing a lot of health here. Looks like Dokla's going to get popped on the GA right now. Shermfire pops the Lamb's Respite. Nori waits for the Lamb's Respite to pop, but look at Darshan. He's still alive. And Nori doesn't have enough damage, but Harry is huge. He's got triple. He's taking down Copy. King has to run. He's got to get out of the fight. Cloud9. I don't think they're going to be able to pull out the magic trick like they did last time. They have a teleport coming back in from Dokla. He's going to be able to respond, and King, he's been routed off. An unofficial quadrant for Aerie. Darshan will go down. Team Liquid are able to bring it out, and they look to end the game right here.
What a crazy fight off the back of Harry on the Lee Sin, just dancing around beautifully, zoning out all the members of C9, and yes, Yawn goes down. But Team Liquid managed to keep themselves alive, managed to not give over Viego resets, and will manage to take the first game against C9, a close one, a sweater, but they managed to have their early game comp. They get them across the finish line to win a 39.5-minute game. A close game between both these academy teams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can all breathe. We can take a step back. Oh my goodness, Cubby. That game had me on the edge of my seat. Now I can kind of lean back and relax a bit. Felt my heart rate increasing a bit. I don't have a heart rate monitor to check it out, but you know, just like in the last chance qualifier, I was ready to go into cardiac arrest right there, Cubby. Man, things were super tense.
That last team fight was so close. I can't wait to take another look at it in the back half after we exit out of this game. But the fact that C9 were able to hang on, I thought they played really intelligently to try and stall out. Team Liquid had a clean early game. C9 were fighting an uphill battle. They managed to stall out the game. They got a miracle steal, which propped them up for the rest of it. But that said, Team Liquid, they took the early game comp, and they managed to snowball it to a victory really off the hands of Yon and Ayla. They found that advantage by themselves in the 2v2, and because of that, it was really tough for C9 to get priority, get any footing in this game.
It was just so difficult for Cloud9. Honestly, Copy being able to pull off that miracle steal and then being able to pilot around that fight, that was like a clutch miracle play. And you can give a little bit of credit to Cloud9 for being able to really finagle that one out of what seemed like a doomed state. But then Team Liquid, they had the wave states ready, they had the flank ready for Dokla to be able to access, and you know that those GAs came in clutch because upon respawn, Dokla and Harry just wreaked havoc in the second extended fight after the major cooldowns had already been burned from Cloud9, and from that point on, Team Liquid, despite making it super close with Cloud9, they still had the gold advantage, they still had the leads necessary to close out that game, and I do believe we're just going to go for a break as we get ready for Game 2 of our series between Team Liquid Cloud9, so don't go anywhere.